Hello, peace and blessings upon you. I am Mastura Deborah Grenard with the University of Spiritual Healing and Sufism. We're here for the Journey Home. I believe this is our fifth of our Journey Home series of this fall and summer and fall series. And we have today Amany Shalaby, PhD. Welcome, Amany.
Thank you, Mastura, for having me. It's a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure to have you, Amany. Such an honor. I'm going to say, just introduce you and say a word about you before we get going. Now, Amany is speaking today on preparation for perpetual living. Preparation for perpetual living. And Amany is quite a jewel, a hidden pearl, I believe.
Thank you.
Her, maybe, which is the title of one of her books. One of her, you've written 3, and you've got another one on the way, right?
Yes, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, and that means inshallah means God willing, and alhamdulillah means praise God. Okay, so let me tell you about Amany because she's quite amazing. So I'm going to read her bio and interject as we go. Amany graduated as an electrical engineer from Ain Shams University in Cairo, Egypt, back in 1985. She obtained her postgraduate diploma in Islamic Studies from Islamic College of Advancing Studies, Middlesex University in London, back in 2002. Her master's degree, she also has her master's degree in comparative philosophy of religions in 2014 from the same Islamic College of Advancing Studies at Middlesex University in London. She is, if you know our guide, Sidi Sheikh Mohammed Al-Jamal, who has passed away last November. He is the one who brought the teachings, the Sufi teachings that we teach in our university. He brought them to the United States and has touched many of our hearts and guided us on our path to as our path to know God in our hearts, and to really find healing, to find truth, to find love. And he has brought these teachings, and Amany traveled with him for a number of years, translating for him, and also translating as the many of us lined up to ask our questions of him and seek his guidance. So in addition to her formal studies, she's also had that experience in being, like Sidi's translator and right hand there. And in addition to that, she has given us individually and as groups so many teachings, and brought her wisdom, brought her knowledge, and in her deeply loving, caring, healing way to our hearts, our minds, our souls. Now, so in addition to that, she's also done a number of work as a translator for Islamic books, and teaches in diverse study circles across the states on Islamic spirituality. She is the author of The Essence of Creation and The Immanence of I don't have that one written here, but I have it on the shelf.
The Emanation of Consciousness.
Yes, there it is. See, right there. The Emanation of Consciousness and The Essence of Creation, and now a new book on poetry, Hidden Pearls. She's also a co-founder of Radiant Hands, an organization that helps single mothers in need, and the Noor Corner Institute. So with that, welcome, Amany. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you very much, Mastura. So ready to start?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to start with reciting Al-Fatiha, which is the first chapter of the Quran, the Holy Qur'an. And if you don't know Arabic, just tune to it as we tune it to music, because our souls know beyond the languages, and consider it as we adjust our souls towards knowing. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين صدق الله العظيم. Welcome everyone to our webinar. Tonight we will be talking about preparation for perpetual or eternal existence. So obviously we will be talking about death and dying, and unfortunately there is a lot of fear that surrounds death and dying. There is a lot of sadness and a sense of separation. And as we delve together to contemplate that issue from the scientific point of view, the spiritual point of view, and see, is it really warrant that sadness? Is it really something to be afraid of? Is it really a separation? Or it is just our limited perception of it that makes us feel so? And that is actually my conclusion after I went deep with the spiritual Sufi teaching and combined that with some of what science offering us today. And I reached to the conclusion that this, yes, is a journey to an unknown or unfamiliar, but it doesn't mean to something fearful. So I would like to start to use a metaphor. If we are traveling to a place, what do we prepare? We prepare our suitcase. And what do we put in our suitcase? In our suitcase, we put some of our clothes, we put perfume, we put maybe our favorite blanket or something we really love and really makes us comfortable. And we prepare with a sense of excitement and a sense of looking forward for that journey of something new and beautiful. So we should prepare for this in such a way too. And before we go and mention or contemplate together what are these spiritual items that we should put in our suitcases, which is our being, our consciousness is our suitcase. So what is it that we want to take with us within our consciousness, which our suitcase, as we journey towards a world that awaiting for us? So before we go to this, I would like to refer to some of the scientific discoveries from people who deeply studied that or even experienced that through near-death experiences and so forth. There is a lot of talks actually, which I encourage you to go and listen. A lot of TED Talks about this experience, a lot of YouTube where people put their own near-death experiences there. And you can see for yourself, but I will summarize it as follows. That studies tells us that about, different studies. One study said about 88% of people Another study said 98% of people experience seeing the loved ones that they had left ahead of time, like they already passed away, coming to take them, to help them make that step, that journey, which actually made me see how the Quran says the same thing. The Quran in chapter number 56, verse or ayah number 91, Allah said that there will be the greeting of peace from those of the right hand. Those of the right hand means the people who had made that journey safely and arrived before us, our loved ones. They will come to greet us the greeting of peace, saying, "Peace be upon you." So, this actually, many of the nurses in hospice places, many of the doctors, the specialists, the researchers who studies dying and the people who are dying, had detected that the majority, as I said, 85 to 98% of the people actually see their passed away loved ones coming to take them, coming to greet them. And they stay beside their bed as long as it takes them to be ready to go, comforting them and giving them some encouragement, to say. Some other people say spiritual religious figures that they connected to through their life in this world, such as prophets and messengers and other what we call in Sufism awliya, like the friends of God. Those come also to aid the person who is dying, to show them the way. And on top of that, many dying people had actually reported seeing angels. I have listened to personal stories from people I know, such as a mother who told me when her little boy was dying, he said that the angels, there are this very lovely being coming and telling me, "Come with us, should I go with them?" And his mother said, "If you're ready to go." And eventually he said, "I'm ready to go, but they asked me to bring the Quran, the holy book, and to touch it and to let you touch it before I leave." And when the mother touched the holy book with him, it was a very peaceful, comforting for the mother, and the boy gone after that. Another story of a mother who said to the hospice, in front of the hospice nurse, that her little boy was saying, "I see a beautiful train waiting to take me, and I have to go." And even adults say the same thing. They see beautiful beings or familiar beings, sometimes beings that they don't know, but they look full of light and beauty and love and comfort. So here there is a doctor, his name is Dr. Thomas Fisherman, has been an emergency physician since 1982, and since 2005 he has worked as the director of emergency medical units in Germany and Switzerland, as well as being a fellow of the British College of Emergency Medicine and the European Society for Emergency Medicine. Dr. Fisherman holds a Master of Health Business Administration, and he has said that, again, testified through his research, that those people who had brain death, complete death, the heart stopped, the brain stopped, no activity at all, when they tried to reinstate them and they came back, they had reported these stories, which is very familiar stories. They all experienced the same thing almost. And as they came back, all of a sudden, where the medical staff thought it's all gone, they reported to him these stories, which ignited his passion for that type of research. And they eventually said the same thing. They all experience being in what we call in Sufism the intermediate realm, the barzakh, where they pass through a tunnel. They see themselves in a confined place that dark but very comfortable and not scary, and they pass through a tunnel through which they see all of their life major experiences as a movie passing right before their eyes. And eventually, by the end of the tunnel, they see a beautiful light that is attracting them to pass to that other realm. And some of them make that step, while others, according to his report, return back because they feel it is not their time, they have to do something, while others will be hearing the voice of the divine calling them that they have not done their learning or their work on earth that they're supposed to contribute, and it is not their time yet and they should return. So Dr. Fisherman tells us that those people later, when they follow them in the research, they found out that their personality changes tremendously. Their purpose in life, they care less about the materialistic gain, and they care more about people, and they care more about service, and they care more about empathy and love and compassion and mercy. And they said that the people who don't finish, like they get reinstated before their heart, before their brain come to stop without activity, they don't have these changes that the other people who almost gone through the death have. And this is well documented now. And the other doctor is Dr. Christopher Kerr. He now serves as the chief medical officer at the Center of Hospice in New York, and recently published a report on the dreams and vision of the dying patients. He said again that they see unseen objects, and they sometimes are afraid to talk with about it because they think people will think they are crazy. And most of the time, sometimes when they mention it, people think they are hallucinating. But he said it is so different than hallucination. And he recommends actually letting people go through that intermediate barzakh, as we call that intermediate process or realm, is very important for the soul to go through. So he mentions that even though 88% of people have pleasant experience, he said he had seen a small number of people who first go through nightmare, something like nightmare, but for them it is really sensual. But he said this nightmare eventually was released and replaced by beautiful visions as the rest of people experience. For example, I'll share one example to bring it closer to what we can understand. So there is that one person who had a nightmare of reliving a war, a Vietnam War he participated in, and he could not rescue some of his fellow soldiers at that point. So he lived all of his life suppressing that feeling of guilt because he couldn't rescue his fellow soldier friends, and that fear and terror that war can instill in the person, that sadness, that sense of destruction. And he lived his whole life without releasing that somewhere and dealing with that pain. Eventually, when he was in hospice and in his deathbed, he sees continually, his friends calling him. He sees a war, he see himself in the terror of war, and he's telling people, stop fighting with one another, it is not worth it. He kept seeing that dream over and over, until eventually one day he saw those passed away soldiers coming to see, we are not angry at you, and we're coming to actually take you with us in that beautiful place. And after that, he started to have, from that moment on, some of the very beautiful dreams. Another woman reported that she always had tension with her mother, and she was hurt by her mother and angry at her. Then in her deathbed, she started to have these dreams. Eventually, she understood from her dreams that her mother loved her so much, but her mother was going through her own struggle, that she didn't mean to abandon her daughter, but she did it to deal with her own struggle, in spite of her great love for her daughter. That made the daughter, which is now an elder lady, feel loved and feel she reconciled with her mother, which the mother had already passed away. So there was this moment of reconciliation between the two souls, and the feeling and the trust that they both loved one another deeply in spite of whatever difficulty they had gone through. And there was that full reconciliation, full sense of love and acceptance and forgiveness. And after that, she was ready to go. Another experience to relate what the soul goes through is that another man who kept saying that there is something incomplete. There is this picture that has a piece broken, or this machine that he's trying to put together, and there is one piece missing. So it is said that his wife, to comfort him, she got a Ziploc bag and she put it in his hand, and she held his hand and she said, I love you and everything is complete. At that point, from that point on, the man was ready to go, and he started to see the beautiful visions. So from all of these experiences, to see that most people had gone through that phase easily, even though some, or the smaller number who struggled, it seems that they had issues in life that they had not came to closure or to reconciliation with themselves or with someone else. And through the process of dying, they had that opportunity to go through that, to forgive, to be forgiving, to reconcile, to feel the love. And now they were ready to go, and they started to see, some of them reported seeing their pets that they died, like their dogs staying under their feet days and days while they were in hospice. They saw their dog under their feet. It was sensual, it was real for them. They saw their loved ones again surrounding their beds, and they could distinguish between both. That man reported he could see between his phasing away in that realm and coming back. He sees the doctors, the nurses, and the people, the relatives who are still surrounding him, who are still in this world. Then he phases away and he is in another realm, seeing his passed away relatives, his friends, those beautiful other beings, angels, and many people reported hearing music, beautiful music, and beautiful chanting. So, and for them it was sensual and real. And that reminds me was what the Quran speaks about, and what the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam spoke about, peace be upon him. He said that sleep is a minor death, to bring it to our mind, closer to our mind and our actually real experience. What happens when we sleep? We fall asleep very peacefully. It is not something scary. It is something we look to do every day. Every day we look for that moment of rest. that moment of sleep where we shut away from all what is happening in the material world. And what is happening in the material world is what could be painful. It is what could be sad. It is what could be a struggle. But once we sleep, we are out of that. And all of our fears and our emotion sometimes get released in sleep, and we see vision. And sometimes this vision is so beautiful, where we see passed away relative, or we see ourselves doing things we cannot do while in the body in this physical world. And we woke up retrieved, energized, rested. And so it is not something that is scary. Nobody is afraid to go to sleep. So why do we get afraid to go to die? It is the same. Just as we fall asleep without knowing how, just as we came to the world without knowing how, we were in the womb of the mother, cared for and protected and provided for. We came to a wider experience of life. Similarly, out of the womb of this world, we go to a much wider and expansive realm. And that realm, as reported by many, many people who went to that experience of near death, it is reported to be full of love, unconditional warmness, peace, release, freedom. And they described it as a realm of light. They described a being of light that talks to them in whatever language, or even in silence, and gives them the knowledge they want. And they always spoke about that sense of unity between everything in the creation and that light. When they moved to that realm, they know the truth of that unity and of that source of love and light from which everything in the creation came. So there was also this report of, I'm sure many of you heard about it, Steve Jobs. When he was dying, it is reported that he kept saying, "Oh wow, oh wow." He repeated it several times to describe the marvel he was seeing. So, because we have that false perception of separation between us and our loved ones, we make this seem like scary. So we grow up as a child seeing the sadness of losing someone, and we grow with that fear and with that sadness, and we see this as separation, where this is actually not a separation. This is union. This is union with everyone and with everything, especially with our loved ones. So one of the reports of Dr. Christopher Kerr, he said that most importantly, the end of life experience represent continuity between and across lives, both living and dead. And both doctors that I mentioned had said that by seeing it over and over again, and the nurses also that you can hear that reported in YouTube, had came to the conclusion that they are it is not something fearful, and it eradicated their sense of fear from dying. So, and they said that, as I mentioned before, occasionally patients dream about past trauma and find themselves with reliving painful experiences from life. But sometimes that helps them to heal this spiritual wound and to go through redemption and forgiveness and release and letting go. So a person's fear of death often diminishes as a direct result of these dreams and visions. And what arises is a new insight into mortality. The author concluded the emotional impact is so frequently positive, comforting, and paradoxically life affirming. The individual is physically dying, but their emotional and spiritual identity remains present as manifested by these dreams. So, back to the Quran when it speaks about the barzakh. And unfortunately, some scholars make it feel like it's that intermediate realm is a realm of torture, could be a realm of torture. But again, it is not a realm of torture as much as it is a realm of looking at what aspect in our life we did not understand or we didn't reconcile with or resolve, what conflicts we couldn't resolve. So it is kind of a healing, even though it might be a little sad or painful, but it's healing because eventually it releases that. And you find some hadith maybe that speaks about they stay in that intermediate realm until resurrection. And we think of time from our perception here that they stay for eternity. But while we are asleep, time is totally different. It is not the eternity that we have from our perception here. It is not years and years. When you are dreaming, you could see someone growing from infant to elder age, and you have just slept an hour or two. That's why the Quran says they will be asked how much you've been in that intermediate realm or even in life in this world. They will say probably some of a day, like few hours. This is how it feels, that for some people it feels like seconds and they are reconciled. For some people it seems like few hours. So it is not, the time perception is not that people go through years and years or aeons and aeons of torture or suffering. It is more of going through that intermediate realm, that tunnel through which they deal again with their life issues. It is said that nobody will enter the garden until he reconciled with his brother or sister. Like if someone had hurt you and you didn't forgive them, or you hurt someone and that person didn't forgive you, that will be brought there for the reconciliation to happen. The understanding will take place, the forgiveness will take place, and then they both will eventually reach that eternity, that heaven, that light, and be in union with Allah, with the divine, when they are purified from all of their misunderstanding and so the barzakh, or the intermediate realm that the soul goes through the dying process, is more of a purification and reconciliation and redemption. So why can't we prepare while we are aware of that and understand that here and now? We have our suitcase, as I began, which our own consciousness. What can I carry in my own consciousness, that suitcase, that is necessary for me and will make my journey easy and will make me comfortable? I have to carry forgiveness. Forgiveness is that pillowcase. So I have to forgive everyone. And it is said, Allah says, if you forgive people, you will be forgiven. So as you release that hurt here and now and redeem your innate nature is a spirit, is a divine spirit, which means is full of beauty and full of divine qualities such as forgiveness and mercy. And when we restore that, redeem our original state of being forgiving, of being loving, of being compassionate, then we are in union, in proximity to divine qualities. We are in proximity to God. And why can't we do it here and now and prepare for that eternity as soon as we can, so we can have a faster journey by forgiving one another, by being merciful to one another. This is what we can take with us by understanding love and by loving deeply. This is what we can carry in our suitcase. That when we become fair for everyone, and even more than fair, compassionate and merciful and forgiveness, when we take with us the beautiful memories of helping someone, the beautiful memories of comforting someone, the beautiful memory of being brave, of being strong, of enduring this life with its pain. This is what we can take with us, the non-material things. When you go to a hotel, you will not take the material things. You can take the soft pillow, you can take the sheets, you can take the luxurious chairs. It cannot fit in your suitcase. What can fit in your suitcase is the non-material memory. And the non-material memory you want to take is the beautiful memory, is the memory of love, of peace, of mercy, of justice, of forgiveness. And that what the luggage that you can carry with you that will comfort you. And it is said in the hadith that these beautiful actions of mercy and forgiveness and the patience and the strength will come to you in a form of beautiful being. Just as when you dream, all of what your emotions embody images and appear to you. So if you are afraid, that fear embody an unpleasant image in the dream that it chase you. But it's a release also. So that release let the fear go in that way, and this image disappear. It doesn't stay forever. So similarly, if you carry the beautiful things, then it will manifest in these images, and these images are beautiful. And even though they will also be passing away, it is said that the heaven or paradise is like a marketplace. And in this marketplace, whenever you love something, you become in union with its form. You become that form. Just as when you love an orange or an apple here in this life, and you actually eat it, you become one with its essence. Similarly, when these beautiful actions, this beautiful creation of God that carry his beautiful qualities appear in heaven, whenever you desire something, this form appears before you, and you become one with it. You know it. And you know it not only in the sensual level, you know its meaning. You know its beautiful qualities, that is God's qualities, and you become one with it. But you stay also with your subtle body, with your subtle consciousness that is distinguished from every other creature. And that is heaven. Everything you desire, you find. Everything beautiful you think of appears before your eye. That is the eye of consciousness, and you become one with it. So it's always an augmenting beauty and a never-ceasing creation that is full of love and beauty and all the godly qualities. And I guess I will stop here, Mastura, and see if people have questions or comments, and we can continue.
Okay, thank you, Amany. This is absolutely beautiful. So to ask questions, there's two ways. If you're watching on the webcast through the Essence of the One blog site, scroll down to the bottom, and there's a place there where you can enter in comments. I see we have, okay. And let me just say, I see we have one there, so I'll come right back to that. If you're on the phone, press *2. If you've dialed in, press *2. And we'll unmute you and let you ask your question live. So I'm going to read this. Let's see. Okay. So this says, hello, Amany, thank you, and Deborah Mastora, so very much for this wonderful opportunity. It is, as always, divine in timing, as I'm dipping into grief and loss, not just in the past, but the potential for my dad sooner than I would wish due to cancer. I've sat with dear close people in their dying. Can you speak to the places where they seem to be processing things that upset them with other people? When other people say they are delirious, but I saw that it was them processing emotions they just didn't
Yes.
feel they could say or would be willing to say based on who they wish to be in this world, and that they were doing doing as they were dying. I think you're touching on some of this. Let me see this.
Yes. Well, I think you can help your father by helping him process this. People who don't have knowledge think it is delirious. Maybe you can suggest to them to hear these doctors speak. They might trust them more than religious people. But this is documented. And there is proofs of it, because that, for example, there is this story of a boy who is in also hospice and dying, and as he dying he said, I see these three beautiful boys coming to play with me and coming to take me, and he said the names of those three boys to the nurses and to the people in the room. The amazing thing is these three boys were real boys who lived and died in the very same room he was dying. So this is like proven for people, nurses and doctors who had gone through that, they came to believe. So this, they recommend that it is not hallucination and not to medicate people. So you can medicate people to release physical pain, but not to medicate them with anti-hallucination and these things, because they are going through the very natural process of releasing and resolving and reconciling with what they had done in life and what they had experienced. So again, to help them is to affirm their experience and to make them comfortable if they are willing to talk about it, and to assure them that God is all forgiving, is all merciful, and that to remind them with God and how he has put this ability to forgive within everyone, within them and within other people, which we all eventually will come to conclude, because it is our innate nature to forgive one another and to love and to have mercy in one another. So it is, again, if you are with your dad and he's seeing things or hearing things, you can encourage him to talk about it and give him the love, the comfort, and the assurance that God is real and God is all forgiving, all merciful, and that he can, as the hadith tells us, as Prophet Muhammad والسلام, peace be upon him, told us that even if we come with sins that is as the size of the ocean, Allah can still forgive us. He wanted us to experience forgiveness, to know the taste of forgiveness. And without us doing some mistakes, how can we taste forgiveness? We would not be able to comprehend its beauty, and it's a profound divine quality. So I encourage you to tell your dad to help him to forgive if he had not forgiven someone, and to ask forgiveness from the people who he want to reconcile with them, or to ask forgiveness from God, and to assure him that God accepts our repentance and redemption. And because once that is done, as I listened over and over to stories of many people, then this beautiful vision starts to come and they are ready to go. It is said that this old man, he was in the beginning very afraid of death when he knew he's dying. And as the time goes and he switches on and off from that realm to that realm, he has seen this old team of his that they played rugby together, and every time they will leave with him something or tell him something beautiful, that eventually they making him ready. So one time he drifted back to this realm and he said to his wife, I'm pissed off. I backed my suit and they wouldn't take me. And for him it is a real sense that he was backing, and he backed his suit. He said, my suit is here and it is ready and I'm ready to go. It seems to me so beautiful that those souls that went ahead of him were making his fear of death less and less, and making him want to go and excited about the going more and more. And for me, that is the mercy of God. That is the loving God who's sending all of these messengers to us to release us from our fear, from our unforgiveness that we hold, and through the difficulties that we hold on, rather than looking back at these difficulties with gratitude. So one of the things that we can pack in our suitcase, that is our consciousness, is gratitude. Look back at your life and cherish every moment you lived, every moment now, every moment you shall live, because every moment is so precious that God gave you. He made one of you. You're so rare and so beautiful, and he made you because you are an expression of his qualities, of his love, and he gave you this life experience to know that, to realize that, to find that beauty and to share it. So difficulties sometimes both for us the opportunity to find these beautiful qualities through someone coming to help us, or through us coming to help someone, and taste the love to its depths, taste humbleness, which is a beautiful quality, taste strength, taste bravery, taste a moment of endurance, and taste generosity. And when we taste all of that, these are the treasures that we can take it with us. So we have to take our, I would say, toothbrush. What is toothbrush? Toothbrush, spiritual toothbrush, is to say Alhamdulillah and to say, I forgive everyone. It is said that the Prophet ﷺ once pointed to one of his companions and he said, this man is a man of the garden. He is in paradise already. So one of the other companions said, I want to know what he does. Is he praying more than me? What is it that he's doing that warranted him this heaven? So he would follow him secretly to see what the man is doing. Eventually, he didn't see that the man pray extra, or he fast extra, or he give more charity than everyone else, or something like that. So eventually, he asked him, what do you think that made you in this heaven? Why the Prophet said you're granted heaven? And the man said, because when I sleep, I make sure I'm not holding in any grudge. I forgive everyone, and I send my love to everyone. And that warranted him the garden. This is what we need to take with us. That what we need to take with us, our soap and toothbrush or whatever, is that sense of gratitude, appreciation, even for the difficult, hard time. Because without one person rubbing against us, even hurting us in a way, we wouldn't have found some other beautiful qualities within us. We wouldn't have developed some learning and some spiritual growth. So one of the things we have to pack with us is that sense of gratitude for Allah for giving us this life and these chances to experience things so deeply and so intensely. Any other question, Mastura?
Beautiful. So if you're on the phone, press *1. I'm sorry, *2. If you're on the phone, press *2 to ask a question, and I'll read just a response from the person who asked that question. It says, "Oh yes, Amany. And I feel so many blessings in walking, helping my family get dad through this journey in cancer. So many opportunities for healing. Thank you. I am so very grateful for the wonderful way you teach. Your sweetheart just transmits healing, compassion, and mercy as you teach." And I'll second that.
Alhamdulillah, praise to Allah. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, thank you. I also, ironically, this class has been planned for a long time. And I have a loved one who it was about 7 weeks ago, had a massive stroke and is in the hospital. She's just been moved from ICU into into hospice, from ICU into hospice just a few days ago. And they're saying she's probably, going to make her transition in like 3 to 7 days is the last thing they said. And I'm actually leaving first thing in the morning to go and to drive to Texas to be there. And, this is a very long time that she's been holding on in this state of, she was unconscious for a while. And
the intermediate state, yes.
Yes. And she's been able to open her eyes and blink and move an arm now and then, but, not much more than that. And it's been, it's painful to watch because you worry about the physical pain that she might be in. And at the same time, I just wonder, oh my goodness, what's she doing all this time? What is her her path she's on, that she's walking, so to speak, during this time.
I think, we thank Allah for the medical revolution, kind of, that doctors now are able to ease the pain of the suffering. So most of us get afraid of this because we're afraid of pain, and physical pain can be relieved. As far as the spiritual and the emotional pain, again, we go through that intermediate state to deal with it. But part of how you can heal or help someone dying is to do that chanting with them. I remember my only experience with someone dying was a close friend of mine. She got cancer and quickly was transferred to hospice. And I know that it's a matter of days. One day I woke up and I have to travel to that other city to see her. All of a sudden I had that sense of duty. So I go there and I started to do the zikr, the chanting of the beautiful names of Allah. I started to recite Quran for her. These things really do help, because even though she was this breathing machine, you can only hear her breath and not moving at all, not conscious. All of a sudden there was her daughter and another friend with me, and all of a sudden we hear as if she's taking all possible energy within her to come closer again to this realm to tell us something. All of a sudden she made that sound that she used to make when she was alive, when she see or feel something really beautiful. She would say, "Oh," in a certain way. I can't copy her exactly, but she came and she said that, and we all looked at one another, that we knew she had received our prayer, that she knew it. We knew it comforted her. Whatever she was dealing with, I think our prayer had helped her, because when I left, before I arrived back, it's an hour and a half drive. Before I reached my home, I received the phone call that she has gone. So sometimes the souls wait for a person to show up. Maybe they want to say goodbye, or they want to make sure they are all right. I remember my uncle's wife, everyone went to say goodbye and he wouldn't go because he was so in pain that he couldn't face that moment, until eventually my mother talked to him into it, and she said, she's waiting for you. And eventually, when he went, even though he cried, it's okay to be vulnerable. But he told her how much he loved her, how much he forgave whatever, and how much he will miss her, and things like that. And she had passed away in that very same moment, as if she was waiting for her. You hear these stories many times about a deceased person. He waited until his son or daughter arrive. And so I think we can help one another by, again, showing the love, showing the prayers, saying prayer and giving the love, and that help the dying person to move. It is said that to always have beautiful expectation of Allah, of God, before you die, at the very last moment, and then you are reminded by the people around you to testify there is only one God, and that Muhammad is his messenger, or you can say also Jesus is his messenger, all the other beautiful beings that taught humanity were his messengers, and to testify that God is only one and he's all loving, all merciful, and to have this beautiful expectation can make the process ease. To say it to oneself, to remind whatever one dying with it, and to help them affirm that and have faith in that, even if they appear unconscious. In one level, the soul can still receive that, and that is all we could do. We can also, as CG taught us, give sacrifice on behalf of our loved ones. If they are sick, they could be healed, and if it is their moment to go, then it is still that will benefit them. So these are the things we could help one another. And for the living,
yes. Can I just
for
point something out there, Amany, when you said, because if there are people who are listening who have not heard that from CD before, what it means to give sacrifice.
To give sacrifice is to help the poor and those who are less fortunate, who are suffering. And if you have money, you can give that money. If you don't have money, you can give something else. Give your effort, give your smile, volunteer on some place, give some of your clothes that is still in good condition. Give something on behalf of yourself and your family. So sacrifice is giving. And most of us have much more than we need, really, and we can afford giving something. And it is sacrifice because you can give something you love and you're holding on and you don't really need. So to give, as you say, until it hurts, like to give as much money as you could possibly do, or as much help as you could possibly do to someone else. And that is the essence of sacrifice, is when you give, God give you back tenfold to 70,000-fold, or many more, much more. Yes. But I was saying, for us, the living, we feel the sadness because we miss the physical existence. But if we know that the souls are already together, even us, we have that access to that subtle realm of subtle bodies through our barzakh, our intermediate realm, which is the realm of imagination. If I tell you now, close your eyes and look at your deceased loved one, friend or father or mother or spouse, you can see them right now in the eyes of your consciousness. And sometimes, yes, this is induced, but the beauty of it, that sometimes it can come spontaneously. and that is available for us. They can visit us. There is this ayah in the Quran that says that Allah holds the souls during sleep, and those who passed away, he keeps holding on that realm, while the others that still have duty to do in this world and learning to do, he releases back to their bodies. So every day we die while sleeping and we wake up. So in a way, this realm is accessible for us. They can still visit us in dreams or even in a wakeful state for those who are advanced in their connection to that spiritual subtle realm. And that is comforting because there is no separation. We feel the separation because of that. At least if you cannot reach that subtle realm to communicate with your loved away, you can visit their grave and speak to them, and they will hear it. They will know you visited. They will know that you're praying for them. They know much better than us. And at least if you miss them and you can't have access to that realm yet, you can kind of trust that it exists, and you can visualize your beautiful memories with them, and even induce that memory. And rather than make it an object of sadness, make it the joyful moment that you are reliving it. You have this ability to relive a moment of love you experience with your deceased spouse or deceased daughter or son or deceased parent. You can still relive that moment inside you, and you can still receive that love. So there is many ways to deal with it, and each according to where our level of it. But again, there is accessibility to that realm as well. So when we go to graveyards and talk to our parents or our loved ones who are deceased, sometimes we may receive them coming to visit us in our dreams or in a wakeful state, and they will give us these messages of comfort and reconciliation that we're looking for. So this is available for us. Is there any other comments or questions?
Yeah, let's see. We do have a question here. And absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Amany. Let me unmute from Oceanside, California. You are unmuted. Yes, that's you.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I understand, and I'm not gonna try to minimize how you feel, but I hope what I say can help you, because many people say that is not fair. Why someone dies so young? And this is the answer that could comfort, I hope, that yes, their life shortened here, but prolonged, but there's very amount in the next, which is more beautiful. Let us say she died at 20 years old, while someone can live up to 80 years old. How is that fair? Because those 60 years difference that someone stayed in this world, she stayed longer than him who stayed 80 years, 60 years in that other realm, which is a realm of beauty and a realm of expansion and a realm of being close to God. So there is the fairness, actually, maybe the one who live at 80 years old can say, why it is not fair that she stays 60 years more than me, in a way, over there in that realm of comfort and love. That's one aspect. The other aspect is her cancer and suffering here is actually was that pathway of expansion, of her receiving love more. It is like expanding her being to receive love more deeply, and to what you call, get rid of everything else that did not matter, that her soul was holding on. So in a way, because I say that because Prophet Muhammad said, even a thorn that hurt us, our finger, like you have a pin, scratching your finger, or a paper cut or something, this is a release of some emotional pain, emotional things we're holding on, which we're not supposed to hold, like something because we've done something wrong or someone done wrong to us, and we release it through releasing that pain in the intense or a dense way in this physical life. So the cancer sometimes, or these physical pains in general, are a way to release and to open our being, expand our being to receive God's love and forgiveness. And I know you miss her, and of course, but this is what I tell myself about the loved ones that left before me. I say they are in a journey, they traveled, you are in California, I mean in Florida. So imagine they just traveled, because it is not even imagined, it's the reality. They had traveled to a place ahead of us. It is not a full separation, it is not a long separation, because life here, we will feel, when we have a true sense of eternity, of time, we will feel that life here is just a glimpse, is just few hours, no more. So imagine that she journeyed to a place ahead of you with few hours, and sooner or later we join. But we, just as you can call someone who traveled to another country far away by phone, there are ways to communicate with your deceased loved ones, your daughter, by praying for her. It is said, when you pray for someone, the angels take it wrapped in light. They say, your mother brought these beautiful gifts for you, and she rejoices in it, and she receives it. So you can go and talk to her, because there is no really this boundaries we imagine, they don't exist in our perception. It is in our level of perception. But you can talk to her, you can ask God to help you communicate with her souls, and send her in dreams for you. And again, it is like making phone calls, by giving her prayers, by talking to her, by waiting for her to communicate, or asking God to let her communicate with you, and by knowing that life here is a short time, life there is eternal, and sooner or later we all join there. Um, yeah. Yes, I think by giving love to other, maybe young women or anyone in need of you to give love, the more we give love, the more we actually receive that love and feel fulfillment. I understand it's hard and it's a process, but I encourage you to, if you're able to volunteer in some place, to give that love, because your daughter would want to see you happy. She would want to see you uh, living and getting to experience life and to understand life, and to do uh, the work that life require of us here in this world, that God sent us to learn and to do. So if you're able to volunteer and to help other people, you will find that help. You will find her happy to see you doing that, and she will rejoice in that as well. And of course, you can do a lot of prayers for her and for yourself. Uh, when you say the name Allah, it is said that it puts the heart at rest. When you know that, you can keep saying the name Allah, and you can again participate in life and taste the beauty of the love that we all share. You're welcome. Allah bless you. Allah bless you. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Amany. I don't see any other questions right now, so I'll just say if you're on the phone, you can press *2 to raise your hand and ask a question. And if you're on the webcast on the Essence of the One blog, you can scroll down to the bottom and type in your question into the comment section, and I'll ask that of Amany. So I'll let you continue, Amany. Okay, so I'm gonna continue, and I'll let you know if any other questions come in.
Yes. There is many ayat in the Quran that speaks of again at the day when their vision became sharpened and they can see the truth as what it is. And so this is again the process of knowing. It is a process of growth. It is a process of coming to know Allah through knowing ourselves, through these interactions and relationships that we have here in life. And the more we be prepared and understand while in this physical life, the more that will also ease our transition there. And the more we're not afraid to live, as Mark Twain said, we will not be afraid to die. Sometimes we're afraid to live fully, and to live fully, it is not to have these adventures and materialistic pleasure. To live fully is to experience life to its depths, including that depth of hardship that open for us to know the beautiful qualities of patience, endurance, and love, because it opens us to receive and to give love in a deeper way. And there is, I like to maybe end with this metaphor of a particular flower. It is called Proteinifolia, and it grows in South Africa. It's an amazing flower. You can look at its beauty, many pictures in Google. This flower is very rare in a way that, and it's very strange because it dies and it stays dead for many years. Like for many years, it stays dead until the seasonal fires occur. And these seasonal fires burns the flower totally. And when it burns it totally, it reveals that within it, there was seeds that never died. And these seeds start The rain comes and they start to bloom, the wind takes them, and then a whole garden of flower appear from that. And that for me, it's just an amazing, and it shows the power of Allah, that He keep transforming the forms. And even though we might have the hardships, it is like that. It is like that. It burns away that what need to be, we need to let go. And it makes us realize the seeds within. And these seeds within are the divine qualities, the godly qualities within us. That is love, justice, peace, mercy, forgiveness, and freedom. And when we have these seeds, that makes our garden. That whole life process is to reveal that for us. And the more we're aware of that, the more we have our gardens ready for us. And as one person actually who had that near-death experience, he's a physician too, and he expressed it as saying he died suddenly in an accident, but he was retrieved later in the hospital. But he said, as he died, it was like almost like a swift tornado, that he was swift out of his body, but to his surprise, he was so free and so relieved from the burden that he was carrying in his mind and maybe in his body. It was a sense of total freedom, total love, and total peace, that he could look back at the world and see and understand that it is all about learning to empathize, to love, to have peace, to have strength, to have patience, and to have these godly qualities. So whether it takes, the point I'm bringing, whether it takes some time, the process of dying, or happens swiftly, eventually there is this redemption of the soul, that the soul experience the presence of God, the source of truth and love and peace and justice and freedom, and everything will be understood. And as he said, it would make perfect sense.
Beautiful, Amany. Thank you so much. That makes me wonder if people who do pass on and then get sent back, if they are maybe a little bit upset about having to come back.
Yeah, some of them expressed that actually, that it was so beautiful there that we didn't want to come back. But then their life becomes here more meaningful. So they enjoy life more, they appreciate life, they have more gratitude, and they are able to actually do more and serve more. And again, it changes their personality to make them more empathetic, less material, and more loving, and know exactly what is their purpose, whether they are a scientist or an artist or whatever field they are serving at, they realize it more. And this particular man said something interesting, that he also found out that before that experience, he was trying hard to open doors for work and for things, but it was not with the pure intention, and these doors were not opening. And as he came back, he said the doors were opening for him, rather him trying to open it. Like those people will be put in his life in the right time and in the right way, that they will offer to do this with him or that with him, and things will start to expand. And he knew it is actually all God's work. So that always made him stay in that humble state or humble realization, by appreciating each of Allah's creation and everyone who's able to contribute in this life.
Beautiful. So, Amany, there's one more question that just popped in, and maybe you can answer this one quickly and then we'll wrap up. It says, what is the best way to ease the way for someone who did not believe in God, that has passed on? Does
That
giving
already
charity
passed
or planting
away.
a tree in their, yeah, so, and I think this is saying for someone who has passed away who did not believe in God, does giving charity or planting a tree in their memory ease their way?
Well, I heard CT saying to some people to give sacrifice on behalf of their deceased ones, including those who didn't believe. Sometimes we, again, we, how can I say this? We judge things from our own perception, whether the person know God or doesn't know. I think there's much more to it than we know, and everyone has their path to God, which is different than ours. So we just have to trust that even though they might have seemed to our perception they are rejecting God, we don't know in God's perception what is happening or how He's leading them towards Him, because eventually everyone would know the presence of God. And so we leave it to God, we trust. But what could we do now and here? Again, to cherish their memory, to pray for them, to give sacrifice on their behalf, or plant a tree on their behalf, or something like that.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love that explanation.
Mhm.
Okay, well, Amany, I want to thank you very much for what you've given today. This has been absolutely beautiful and really helps the heart to rest, you know. So I want to thank you for this.
Alhamdulillah, thanks Allah, and thank you everyone. And I pray everyone will have this graceful death and be prepared by forgiving and reconciling and doing the best they could, and being trusting in Allah's mercy, Allah's beauty, and Allah's forgiveness.
Thank you. Thank you. So speaking of being prepared, I do want to mention the University of Spiritual Healing and Sufism has a number of programs to help you in your preparation. Our teacher liked to say to die now in this life, die to the ego, to be with God in this life, to be with Allah, to be with the love and the peace and the mercy and the justice, the freedom in this life now, and not when you die from the body. And the message, the vision of the University of Spiritual Healing and Sufism, our mission is to teach that love, peace, mercy, justice, and freedom now, to help us to wash our hearts, to purify our hearts of all of the stuff that we take on in this life that can cause the heart to harden and keep us from really realizing that we are with God in this life, in this moment, that we can with any time and any time. We can be in that place of love and forgiveness and compassion and really bring healing to our own hearts and to each other. So we offer programs in this with the university. So there is a website you can go to. There, it's sufiuniversity.org. That's S as in Sam, U, F as in Frank, I, sufiuniversity.org/info, INFO. And there's a place there where you can schedule a chat with one of our enrollment specialists who can answer your question. The people who work as enrollment specialists are all people who've been through the program for many, many years and done a lot of training and a lot of personal healing and what we call walking, which is walking the path to be close to God in this life and not now and not when we die. So I encourage you, if any of this speaks to you or calls to you, go to that website and schedule a chat with one of our enrollment specialists and just see if there's something we have that can help you on your journey. We offer Masters of Divinity programs in spiritual healing and counseling, in spiritual peacemaking, and in spiritual ministry and Sufi studies. So we actually have a new class that's starting in just a month on October the 29th. So you're invited and more than welcome to join us in that program as well. There's information on that webpage that I just gave you about that program. Again, that's sufiuniversity.org/info.
You know, I would like to say that some of the companions of the Prophet would say before they die that they smell the fragrance of the garden. So what you're saying, Mastura, is very beautiful. We can smell that fragrance here and now before we die, the fragrance of love and peace and mercy and forgiveness. And definitely the beautiful teaching that is available through the Sufi University can help us have that fragrance.
I love the way you phrase that. Thank you. Yes, that's beautiful. Smell the fragrance and be in the garden now.
Yes.
Okay. I thank you. Well, you're invited to join us in that garden. It is exquisite, and yet I know in so many ways, for me personally, that garden path has just taken only a few steps on it, and blessed to even have a toe on that path. So again, sufiuniversity.org/info. We have Masters of Divinity program that starts on October the 29th of 2016. We just go to that website and see when the next one is starting. If you're watching this in the future, we also have various distance learning programs as well. So we hope that you'll join us there. Thank you very much for your time this evening, for watching this video. We wish you a blessed journey on your garden path. Thank you, and thank you, Amany.
Thank
and
you,
thank you, Mariam, for
everyone.
the questions.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Greeting of peace.